Hey superfans, and welcome to Hero Central. That is right, guys. Today we're going to be talking about the new Iron Fist show. That is right, guys. It is a very interesting show, a very good show. I recommend you guys go check it out. So this is kind of my review on the show in general. I'm going to try not to spoil anything, so it'll probably be kind of short because without spoilers, this is going to be fairly short, to be fair. I might add in a few spoilers, but I'll try to give spoiler warnings before that happens. So, anyway, guys, let's get right into this. So, if you guys do watch the show, it starts off with Danny Rand, the main character, otherwise known as the Iron Fist. Moving back to New York from Kung Lung. That's it. He comes back from Kung Lung, where he's been training for 15 years after a plane crash and his parents' death. So he comes back and no one believes it's him, and I have no problem with that. I think that was good, of course. Like he's got to prove his identity, that he really is this billionaire who owns half this company or whatever, or more than half, like 51% of the shares. But the problem for me was they spent way too much time just trying to figure out who he was. I think it spanned out for like 3 episodes, when in my opinion it should have just been 1 episode trying to prove he's Danny Rand, and then after that it should have just gone right into like the whole story of defeating the Hand and whatnot. So that's not a spoiler either, because as you'll see if you watch the show, that's the big villain, is the Hand. I'm not going to spoil what happens to them or anything like that, but that is the big villain. They're the Hand. It's kind of like it's like their version of Hydra, because like how Hydra's like it appears in like all the Marvel movies, and like and they always have some form of influence in like the villains or the story or something. That's kind of like the Hand. Like it's been popping up in like every one of these shows, like Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist. Now like it finds ways to pop up everywhere. So I'm super excited for the Defenders because of the show, though. I think it's going to be really awesome. I think the show was great. It just took a little bit of time to get really into the action. Like, it starts off kind of slow, so if you're not one to put up with like a slow start to a show, and if you can't make it through like 2 or 3 boring episodes to get to the action, this isn't a show for you. I think that it's a great show, but you definitely have to be patient with it, and you have to be able to sit there and sit through the boring story stuff so that you can get into all the crazy awesome action stuff. So yeah, that's a big thing. And now something else I wanted to talk about is Madame Gao. So this is where we might get into spoilers. So just a warning there. Okay, so Madame Gao, as you know, is like one of the leaders of the Hand within the show. Okay, and there's a time when Danny goes to fight the Hand, and he's challenging all of like the Hand people or whatever, and then she like changes the rules up, and then like she says she doesn't care about honor, and she just wants to win this duel, make sure she doesn't die, of course. So Danny has to like make a choice, and he gets all frustrated at the fact that like she's tricking him. So I believe he goes to punch her, but she uses this power where she like makes him fly across the room without even like touching him. Or if it was touching him, it was like just like a small tap. I don't even remember exactly how it went down, but I believe she didn't really even like touch him. And they never ever go over that again, and they never bring it up again. She never uses it again. If you have the power to make people fly across the room, you have some kind of power inside you, or some superpower or whatever. Why would they never bring that back up? Like, they brought it up once, they put it in there, and then all of a sudden it was never a thing again. It was never mentioned again, and I feel like that's kind of weird. If you have a power like that and you're a villain, or you're supposed to be the villain of the story, then you should be using that power. Like, that's something that you would want to use to help you get away and help you get out of situations and stuff. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I don't know if they just threw that in there and then decided, no, that was a bad idea. But if that was the case, they shouldn't have put it in there in the first place, or at least they should have addressed why she doesn't use it often. but I don't know, like throwing that power in and then just like ripping it away after the one time was just kind of weird to me. Uh, Also, Davos. If you guys watch further into the season, like I said, we're on spoiler time now. Davos, if you guys watch later into the season, is of course Dany's friend from Kung Lung, and he wants him to go back and become the Iron Fist. And I gotta be honest, I think Davos deserved to be the Iron Fist much more than Dany Rand. Not because I don't like Dany Rand. I think Dany was an awesome character. I really like the whole Iron Fist character, but in terms of what the Iron Fist is meant for, like guarding the passage to Kung Lung and everything, Davos just seemed much more dedicated to Kung Lung and dedicated to the cause that the Iron Fist is supposed to be dedicated to. So I personally felt like he deserved to be the Iron Fist. I think it's awesome that Dany's going to be the Iron Fist and he's going to get to be in the Defenders and all that stuff, and it's fantastic. But yeah, I don't know, like seeing Davos and how seriously he took Kung Lung and the Iron Fist's duties and whatnot. I think that's incredible, and like he really, if Dany hadn't shown up and stolen that from him, definitely would have gotten it. So anyway, the other final thing I want to talk about is how Davos becomes the villain at the very end, and I think that's very interesting because they fight each other, and you think like, and yeah, that's like an awesome scene. I gotta be honest, the fight between him and Davos, where he's like yeah, I beat you back in Kung Lung, and I'll beat you again, and then Davos like goes off and he leaves, and then at the very end of the final episode, you see, at the very end, you see Davos talking to Joy, which is pretty interesting. I haven't really explained who Joy is, but Joy and Ward are the two people who Dany's father and his friends started the company Rand, and and his friends' children are the ones who were basically running the company up to the point where Dany showed up. And then Dany started putting his foot down and helping them steer the company into a better direction and whatnot. Yeah, I definitely recommend you guys watch the show because I'm not going to get into all the details and whatnot because if you haven't watched it, I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, you see Davos and Joy, they're speaking. So that's going to become the villain of Season 2, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see Dany struggle with the fact that he's now going to have to go up against an old friend of his, and he's now officially has to say I'm done with Kung Lung. This is where I belong, and I will fight to stay here and stay away from Kung Lung and Davos and all that. And I think that's going to be very interesting to see him struggle with, does he want to fight Davos? Does he really believe in his cause to help other people outside of Kung Lung and whatnot? And I think that's going to be great, and it's going to be awesome to see him struggle with the fact that he's going to have to fight his old friend from Kung Lung for his new friends in New York and whatnot. So that'll be very interesting. Like I said, super excited for the Defenders. I think it's going to be an awesome show. Anyway, if you haven't watched the show, highly recommend it. But if you're still watching at this point and haven't watched the show, sorry for any spoilers I might have thrown out there, but I tried to keep them at bay, and that is why I'm not going to speak too much into any details or anything like that. Those were a few points I wanted to go over, but great show overall. Highly recommend you guys check it out. Can't wait for the Defenders, like I said. And yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.